Hey there, everybody. It is time for another episode of Rebel Rock Radio.
Yeah.
This is episode number 178. And I am Steve, and with me is JD. And who do we have in the chat room? We had Matt, who was here bright and early. We have Ben. And we have CEO of Star Wars Non-Toxic Alliance. We have Spencer. That is right. Let's fucking go. We have the Bear.
Smirking Bear.
Yeah. So, hello to everyone in the chat. I'm sure we'll get some more coming along.
Matthew, I am the Force. Matthew, I'm pretty sure Chuck Norris is the Force.
I don't know. I think the Force is cooler than Chuck Norris. All right. So tonight we are going to be talking about the Force. What is it? I don't know.
One of the more controversial topics in Star Wars. And disputed sometimes.
Yeah, that is true. So this is like what's on the tangent menu. Oh man, it could go anywhere, man.
Your first mistake is thinking that there's a menu of tangents.
Yeah,
it's not a menu.
Okay. Oh, and Steve is also in the chat room. How you doing, Steve?
Hey, Steve.
If you folks out there actually think that we plan these tangents,
we plan the show, we put notes in, we design where things go, but it's really more of a suggestion than it is an actual,
This is the way it could go.
Besides, if there weren't tangents or squirrels, as we call them, we wouldn't get a chance to have a drinking game and have more beer.
That's right. Or more coffee.
And cheers, everybody.
This is some iced coffee today that I'm drinking.
Iced coffee.
Heck yeah. So yeah, we're going to be talking about the Force, and it's kind of a first part of a 3-part series that we haven't named yet. The series, that is. So tonight we're going to be talking about what is the Force, and a little later on we will talk about what we will be talking about next week. So we've got the Force to talk about. We have some show and tell time later on. And we have some tunes.
Music!
We have music.
To quiet and bring the soul together, or to make you headbang with a huge headache.
Yes.
It just all depends.
So, with that nice little segue there. Thank you, David.
I'm here for you.
We have the first song of the evening. This one comes to us from a band called the Brash Menagerie, and they are from Madison, Wisconsin. What was that?
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is. Brash Menagerie.
Brash
from
Menagerie.
Madison, Wisconsin. They just put out an album last week on July 30th. The name of the album is Dollars to Donuts. And the song we are going to play for you from them is called Drinking with Strangers. So here you go.
Hey!
Drink the drink.
But I don't want the drink.
He doesn't want the drink. He does.
I don't.
You do.
I don't.
You do.
I don't.
You do.
I don't.
You don't.
I do. All my friends were drinking and I don't know what to do. I still like to go out at night and have a couple few. I know they got their reasons and I can't walk in their shoes. So tonight I get some drinking here with you.
All right. Drinking with Strangers by the Brash Menagerie. Fun stuff. I like the album cover because it looks like Dunkin' Donuts.
Because somebody has a Dunkin' Donuts fetish.
I love Dunkin' Donuts, and it's not because of the donuts. I don't actually eat donuts because of diabetes. I just like their coffee. I like the coffee a lot. I would ask what you've been up to this week, but I know what.
But you already know part of what I've been up to this week. You actually know it, and if anybody who was in our Discord, they will also know what we were up to this week.
So I took a little trip. Hey, it's Red 5 Network. That's probably Ro. How's it going there, dude? You here to talk some Force with us, which we'll get to eventually.
We always get to eventually.
We always get to it. Yeah, I took a little drive up to Wichita, which is actually not that far a drive. It's like 3 hours. And that is that's not where you live, but that's pretty close.
Pretty darn close.
Pretty close.
Most of the time when I tell people where I live, they go, huh? Where's that? I'm like, well, let's put it this way. I found BFE. How about that?
Yeah. But yeah, it's only about 3 hours. It's actually not that bad a drive. It's actually
that's nice.
It's like 80 plus miles an hour almost the whole way.
Mm-hmm. I made that, like I was telling you, I made that drive several times on my motorcycle. I really enjoyed it. I just didn't enjoy people trying to run me off the road when I had my motorcycle. So yeah.
So we hung out and we ate. We had lunch at an Irish sandwich bar.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was so good.
Really good. I had a Reuben. It was so freaking good. So good. And then we went. We did a little browsing at some shops.
Mm-hmm. Local comic shops.
Went to a comic shop. Went to I guess it's kind of like a souvenir shop.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of that place we went?
The comic book shop?
No, not the comic book shop. There was that little tiny place that we went to.
Oh, the Burroughs. Yeah, the Burroughs. Here Burroughs there in Wichita. It's they have they have all kinds of little hobby stuff, and they also have like LARPing stuff, and they also have statuettes, and it's a big sci-fi place, for sci-fi stuff. Yeah.
Cool little place.
Mm-hmm.
But while we were at the comic book shop, I did buy something that I will be showing you a little later.
Mm-hmm. Very nice find.
Yeah, pretty cool little toy there. Matthew, no, I did not bring him roses. It wasn't that kind of. And then after we were done doing our little browsing, we went and watched.
Ben says Wichita Brewing and Pizza is also a good choice. Yes, they are. They are excellent.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
And we went to see a little movie.
Yep.
Some of you might have heard of it.
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
I think it was a second viewing for both of us.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Which, if you haven't watched it the second time, I highly recommend it because it got better the second time.
It really was better the second time.
It was better the second time because first time you watch it, there's so much like in your face.
Yeah.
There's so much information, so much in your face, so many cameos, so much just stuff going on that you just don't have time to freaking think.
And for those of you that are more interested in learning about our thoughts on that movie,
mm-hmm.
Join the Patreon because we are going to have some bonus content regarding said movie. You're such a liar, Spencer. Dang, man. And then after that, we went to the Oak and Pie. Was that the name of it?
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
So almost had a little bit of interaction with some interesting people.
Person. It was just one person that was
the drunk at the bar. That was interesting. That was interesting.
And then I walked over to the candy shop with you and Julie. So, and I still haven't eaten those things that I got there.
Really?
Yeah, they had a very, very tiny sugar-free section, and I got a couple of those. I don't even know what they're called. They're like Butterfingers without the chocolate. Got sugar-free versions, and yeah, haven't ate them yet.
See, I have the same issue with my girlfriend Julie. For those of you who don't know, my girlfriend Julie, she has a huge chocolate allergy to the point where if she gets anywhere around like powder or anything, she will literally seize up. It'll close her throat up, and she even has epinephrine pins. She even has EpiPens that you can stab into her that she has to carry around because it can be very bad. And I have to be very careful about the places she go. And sometimes she just has to look at me and go, "You can go, but I can't go in there."
Yeah.
And it was the same way because when you were there, I was like, God, I'd go to a candy store. My girlfriend can't eat the chocolate stuff, and you can't even look at the sugar stuff because of because of other things. And it's like,
Hey, Salacious Rum is in the chat. How's it going, sir?
Monkey Lizard General himself.
Yes. But yeah, we had a good weekend, and probably going to go up there again for a pig roast.
Yes. Late September, we're going to roast a couple pigs. We're going to roast not a couple pigs. We're going to roast a couple quarters of pigs on the old open fire outside and sit out and enjoy the night air and I'm going to enjoy some beers, and we'll have a bunch of people out for pig roast. So it'll be fun. We did that when we first moved in. I roasted half a pig for 12 hours on an open pit fire and smoked it and glazed it the night before and smoked it the next day. And I have my own recipe for basting, and every time we flip it, we throw a very delicious homemade, self-made glazing on the pig. And yeah, it was good.
We should live stream part of that event.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Of course, the people that I work with would be a little bit of a riot.
Yeah, I can imagine. So that was our weekend. So I mentioned the Patreon earlier. If you would like to jump on there and support us financially, when you first sign up, let me back up. There is only one tier. It's $2. And then when you sign up, you can get a sticker. And whenever I'll be showing those later. Actually, the stickers are in, so I'll be showing those a little later.
You people will like the stickers.
The stickers are cool. So you get the sticker when you first sign up, and you get the bonus content, which we do have some bonus content on there, and we're going to have some more very soon.
And we're going to have more. Yep,
we're going to have more for those that are interested in our thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine. We're going to have some more content on there for you. And then another thing is, if you are a patron, you will get a shout out on this live stream. So, without further ado, we would like to thank our current patrons. Thank you to Dave Brown, Kelly and Chris, Justin Hensley, Charlie Kirby, Chantel, Matthew, and our brand newest, is that a word? brand spanking new patron Steve, who is, I believe, is still in the chat room with us. Hey, there's Chantel.
Hey, Chantel.
There. Wait, Josh is going to expose himself?
What?
Well, wait a minute. That's some bonus content right there.
What?
Yeah, so thank you, all of you who are contributing to the cause. We really appreciate it. Oh, she didn't finish her sentence. Josh is going to expose ... me to Blade Runner's director's cut. It was cooler when it was just exposed. So cool. So yeah, thank you to all our patrons. And like I said, if you want to jump on there, it's only $2 a month. Cheaper than a cup of coffee. And get all the cool bonus content and the shout out and the sticker. Cool stuff. So, Chantel, why is Josh not on here with us? Oh.
He's too busy exposing himself. I don't know.
He's exposing himself. So yeah, I've got two cats in here with me.
Are they having a disagreement as they normally do?
Well, there's the two actual brothers, Earl and Max, so they're kind of being doofuses. Yep, I knew it, Josh. Josh loves to expose himself. No fair. We don't get. Never mind. Anyway, so Josh, I need to talk to you offline. Well, still online because that's the only way to talk. But away from here about the new X-Men comic book series. If you have read them, I wanted to.
Salacious says Salacious is always exposed.
There we go. Always exposed.
Always exposed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you're a monkey lizard, you can do that.
Yeah. Most of us don't wear pants. Anything else that happened over the week that you would like to? Anything that you watched other than Deadpool and Wolverine that you'd like to? Or read? Anything?
No. The Mother Nature had other plans for me at the end of last week.
Oh yeah,
then Sunday I had to catch up on all the stuff that I didn't get done during the week because Mother Nature had other plans again.
Yeah.
So, and then I worked late again last night, so my time has pretty much been wrapped up. This has been an interesting summer for us. This has been an interesting summer for the power company that I work for. It's been a lot of storms and a lot of unique, and I say unique, that's the best word I can come up with. It's been a very unique summer. So yeah, it's I hate to say it, but I'm not a big fan. I like summer because I'm not. I like the heat, and I like to be able to get out.
I don't like the heat.
I like to get out and be able to do stuff in the summer, but I'm anxious for fall, for the cooler weather, and for things to settle down a little bit. Because some years, some years we have summers where we don't have hardly anything going on, and it's pretty quiet. This year is one of those years where it's just been nonstop kind of chaos. So,
in response to your comment, Spencer, same. I am really looking forward to it. It is the one that Gail Simone's going to be writing. That's going to be really cool. Chantel says, I need to peruse Josh's X-Men comic book collection if you will let me touch them. I may need to wear gloves. Yeah, probably.
Some people are very particular about their clothes.
And Josh snapped back. No touching.
No touching. Uh-oh.
Wow.
Wait a minute. Didn't you say you two were engaged or something?
Yeah.
That might be a bit of a problem. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean,
you're not going to let her touch your X-Men. I don't blame
Just
you.
A piece of advice, Josh. What's yours is hers and what's hers is hers. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Man, what did I do Sunday? I did something. Went and had lunch at a place we'd never had lunch before.
Oh, that's always fun.
Down in it's this place that, like, every time I go to DM Dave's, which is a game store here in Norman, I pass this place called Rooster's Bar and Grill. And I was like, man, one of these days I need to go in there and sorry to disrupt your chat. What are you disrupting?
You're not disrupting our chat. You are 100% not disrupting our chat.
We haven't even gotten into
it. Yeah, we haven't even started yet.
So, yeah, I keep meaning to go to it. And then, so Sunday, I got everybody up, everybody being a wife and the youngest child. Got them up and dragged them to Roosters with me.
Nice.
And had a Philly cheesesteak. It was really good. And for those of you that are frequent viewers of the show, or for those of you that are in Discord or that just know me, I actually liked their fries. And if you know and are regular viewer, you know that I am not a big fan of French fries because I'm very, very picky about my French fries. And there's only a handful that I like. Like, we had this conversation, I think
Saturday. Yes, we did.
Yeah, because I'm like,
because
there's
off
the top of my head, I can think of Red Robin and Five Guys, and that's it.
Because there's apparently some people out there that don't understand the difference between different types of French fries and home fries.
Oh, we won't even get to that.
We won't even get to that. That was a whole talk.
Okay, so to respond to the chat, yes, Spencer, you need to read it, and I will continue to bug you. And then to respond to Josh, it is my favorite X-Men story as well. Love it. We're talking about Age of Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Yeah, Matthew, I like steak fries. But even then, I'm still picky about where I will eat them. Because I have gone into some places where they've had steak fries and they just tasted like ass. And not in a good way. Anyway, I think that's it. What else has been going on this week? Well, there was this TV show that I had been watching, and I finally finished it. There's like 8 seasons of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You ever heard of it?
Oh yes, isn't that a comedy?
Yeah,
it was the comedy. Yeah. Yep.
But it's got oh hell, I forgot his name.
Terry Crews is in it.
Yeah, he is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of the name of the Adam Samberg. Andy Samberg.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of the main character.
Mm-hmm. One of the characters who was the chief, wasn't the chief of police? He just passed away recently.
He did. That was very sad. And his character was hilarious.
I loved him. He was a great character. I liked him as an actor too.
Andre Braugher is I think I'm pronouncing that right. That show was great. I think it's inched its way into my top 10 TV shows. Salacious could tempt Steve with a big fat crispy English chip with salt and vinegar and dipped in the proper curry sauce. Okay.
Or proper gravy rather than those skinny.
I do not like the skinny.
Mm-hmm. I will have to say, Salacious, and we talked about this on your show, that when I went to England for Star Wars Celebration last year, one of the delights when we were there was all of the different ways that the English prepared their food and all the food that we had that we was there. It was excellent. Little corner cafes.
Chips.
Yeah, little corner. Oh, my girlfriend, that's the first thing she had when she was there, and it was delicious. I almost kept stealing stuff off of her plate so that way, because I knew she wasn't going to eat it all anyway. But we stopped it.
Josh, I would agree with you on this. The comment that kind of threw me off was the curry. I don't know about that curry on chips. I don't know.
Trust the monkey lizard. Trust the monkey lizard.
I just don't know. Anyway, yeah, their fries weren't bad. They were. I would order them again if I went back to this place.
Mm-hmm.
I would. But yeah, I'm not.
I'd be down with the gravy. The gravy part sounds good.
Gravy does sound good.
Mm-hmm.
It does. Yeah, I don't like skinny fries. I don't like. Unlike probably 70-80% of the population, I don't like McDonald's fries. They have a funky taste to them, and I don't know how to describe it. They don't taste good. They're weird. Most fast food places, yeah, I feel like I've had this conversation on this show before. Most fast food places,
you and I had it Saturday.
Yeah, I don't like. Yeah. I don't like Burger King fries. I don't like Wendy's fries. What's another fast food place? Carl's Jr. / Hardee's. Do not like their fries.
Salacious's new slogan says, "Trust the monkey lizard."
Yeah. Oh man, Chantel's leaving.
What?
She does say, "Remember to hit the like button." That is
yes, cool. Please remember to hit the like button.
Matt, I've only been up there a handful of times, and I probably didn't. Probably because I don't like fries, and I generally don't just order them. I don't specifically request. Cheese fries, I'm sure they're fine. I don't know. I got these fries with my Philly cheesesteak the other day, Sunday, because they came with the sandwich. Well, Josh is leaving too. Gosh dang it. You guys need to plan your outing some other time. Anyway, just messing with you. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Have a good night. Have a good night.
Yeah. Have fun watching Blade Runner. And Josh, we still need to talk about X-Men. So make some time for that. We need to talk about that. Okay, so Bear, and I think I saw this in the chat a little, God dang it, earlier too. I've never had it. I am willing to try them, but it's really going to depend on what kind of fries you're putting them on. Because if you're putting them on fries that I already don't like,
it's not going to make them any better.
Not going to make them any better. I don't think. So Matthew says that Eskimo Joe's cheese fries are an Oklahoma treasure. I'm going to have to take your word for that. I typically don't make a special trip up to Stillwater just to eat. There's places down here I can eat. I didn't make a special trip to Wichita just to eat.
Yeah.
But
I did.
What good places are there in Enid to eat, Matthew? I've only been there a handful of times too.
I did, however, warn my girlfriend that the place that we went, Artichokes in Wichita, now that they have a new location, and I always, like I said before, I always did like their stuff. And now that they have a new location, I told my girlfriend that we're probably going to get tired of that place because that place is an excellent sandwich shop. And for like really lunches and things like that, it was so good.
That Reuben is so good.
The only thing they do need to do is they need a little bit more lighting.
Exactly, Matthew. That is exactly my point. It would be easier to name the fries I like, and that's what I was saying. Like when I was talking to him Saturday, I said off the top of my head, I like Red Robin and I like Five Guys, and that's all I could come up with on the spur. Again, I can't think of any other places I like the fries. Artichokes did not have fries. So for my side, I ended up getting coleslaw. I think if I were going to go there again, I would probably get the potato salad because it did look good.
The potato salad was really good. Potato salad was excellent.
The coleslaw was fine. It was good. Doesn't make me jump up and down, but it was good. Man, there was something else I was going to say about our trip.
I will give a PSA real quick, and maybe it'll help you think. Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, so that way you don't forget it.
I think the next time I go up there, whether that's for the pig roast or something else, we do need to go to the Spaghetti Warehouse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Unless it closes down by the time I get there.
I hope not. I hope not. My PSA, by the way.
Okay.
So, to give context, me and Steve went into one of the local shops, one of the local comic book and collectible shop here in Wichita. And I'm going to say this PSA, but I'm not going to name the name of the shop. It's just, I'm going to give the PSA. So that way, if you ever get a chance to go to, or if you come to Wichita and you go to one of these shops, or if you go to your local area and you go to collectible shop, because obviously me being a collector, I'm always looking for sales. I'm looking for bargains, unless it has to do with like charity. If it's for charity, then I don't mind spending over and above what the item is actually worth if it's for charity. But PSA to those out there who are looking to find pieces for their collections or pieces that they finding personal, please, before you go into any of these shops and you decide that you want to purchase something, do your research first. And if you're a friend, if you're on the show, a friend of the show, you hear this message and you know how to get in contact with us on Rebel Rock Radio, please get in contact with myself, Steve, whoever, and we can kind of help you out with researching the item that you want. Because we went to a particular shop and we found items that some of them were decently priced. And then we found other items that were above what you could get them online for if you go to the right place. So whenever you find something online, make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure that it's of the right price, that people aren't trying to charge you too much. Because even though there's people out there who say Star Wars is dead and Star Wars isn't making any money anymore, there are still people out there who are collectors, who are like pawn shops and things like that, that will try to charge you more because they know Star Wars fans will pay more to get the item that they want. But there's a good chance that you may be able to find it somewhere else, or if you know collectors and if you know people who know people who know people, that's me, then you may be able to find those items at a better or more reasonable price.
That being said, if they're charging a little bit more than you can find it online, and you want to support your local shop, by all means do that. But if the shop is charging
ridiculous prices
over where you can get it,
if they're charging ridiculous prices,
we're talking like a particular item that we found online. I think that shop was charging like maybe $40 more for it. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yep. I ran into this with this shop that we went to, and it was a deal where there was a sideshow piece that I really wanted. Yeah.
I remember which one you're talking about.
Yeah, there was a sideshow piece that I particularly wanted. And I looked at it through Sideshow, and I could still get it, and it was still cheaper on Sideshow to just purchase it through them and have them send it to me rather than buy it through the shop. Now, as Steve said, I do agree if you can support the local shop and you can't find it and there's only a little bit of difference, I don't mind so much supporting local shops, but when their prices become so ridiculous that you're going, wait a minute here, that's not fair. That's damn near scalping.
Yeah, it's like the item that I found there. It was the exact same price as I found online, and the place that I found it online, I would be able to get it shipped to me free. But since it was the same price, I'm like, well, I'll just give them my money and take it now. I wait for shipping. It's here. I can get it. Yeah.
Which is it's a cost analysis thing. That's why I bring this up, because like if they're charging $5 over what the price is of the item, but having it shipped, like say if you purchase something from Disney directly, but this shop has it already, and it's only $5 more than what you would pay from the shop, but the shipping and handling cost to get it from Disney to you is a lot more, then I would say go ahead and purchase it.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just a PSA to do your like I said, do your due diligence. Make sure that you're checking on your prices. Make sure that you're protecting yourself from unreasonable scalping, is what I call it.
Yeah.
Because I deal with this a lot with collecting, because I'll find an item and I loathe, and I'm going to call them out personally, I loathe Walmart and Target because they do not protect against bots. And when something comes out, especially in the higher tier collector markets, like say Star Wars or Marvel or Transformers or even like Motu or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Hot Wheels, they don't protect against bots, and they will allow people to just run the gambit on purchasing everything, and then the scalpers put it online, and if you want it, you have to buy it through them. Yeah. It's annoying. It's horribly annoying. And I've personally emailed, or actually I had Hasbro actually send me a request for my opinion on their processes, and I said, I think it's ridiculous that you sell or allow companies to sell your items that don't protect against bot. I said, it's because your largest market is people who are collectors and people who purchase this stuff for their collections. And I mean, at least in my opinion, it is. And when they allow scalpers to run the gambit on it, and they allow them to essentially take the items and then try to rob people by overcharging for them, it's ridiculous. And I mean, obviously, my opinions went unheard because it hasn't been fixed. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah. I think the manufacturers, a lot of them have figured that out, especially like the smaller Jazzwares little vehicles that I've been buying. Yeah, initially they get sold out, but then they flood the market with them, and then they end up with more. The only problem with that is it's kind of hard on the retailers, or it's hard on the guys that make it, because if they don't sell those items, then that's lost profit for them. So, but it is what it is. It's always been a battle, and I think it'll continue to be that way.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think it's time for our second song, and then after that, we're going to have some show and tell time. All right.
Some good show and tell.
Song, what was that?
Good show and tell.
Okay.
We got some good stuff.
So this one comes to us from Matty Grace out of Ottawa, Ontario. They just released a single on July 31st. And that's what we're going to play. And the title of this song is a mouthful. So let me take a drink.
Uh-oh.
Okay. The name of the song is I May Be a Bad Influence, but at least I'm not a fascist kook. Or is that cuck? I don't know how to pronounce it.
How is it spelled? How's it spelled?
C-U-C-K.
That's cook.
Okay. So there you go. So that's what we're playing. So here it is. Let me get it pulled up here. There we go. All right. You can get fucked.
Wow.
That was
that was short, intense, and
I liked it. I like. Is it a she? I think they. I'll just say they, and I'll be safe. Yeah, I like their other stuff. They were in a band. Actually, I think they're still in the band that we have played on the show before. And I can't remember the name of it. What was the name of the band? Crisis Party. Yeah, we have played them on the show before. Good stuff. So we got one more song coming up. But right now we have some show and tell time.
We actually have a title for it now.
Okay. You want to go?
I think you should go first. I think you should go first.
Okay,
you go first.
So we were in this comic book / collectible place, and God dang it, I'm trying to get the price tag off of it. And I'm probably going to leave this one in the box. I don't know.
I'm one of those people that if I'm a collector, if I can see it in the box and I know I'm not necessarily going to, I don't have a display for it, then I probably will leave it in the box until such time as I have an actual physical display for it.
Yeah. And I've got several items that are, I've got some that are out of the box and some that are still in the box.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably keep this one in the box just for the hell of it. Anyway, this is what I picked up. I picked up a Admiral Thrawn Funko.
Mm-hmm.
I like
very nice.
Admiral Thrawn's cool. Speaking of Admiral Thrawn, I am currently reading. What's the name of it?
When you read Alliance
in the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy?
Wasn't it Alliance?
No.
Was it Alliance?
No. I already read that trilogy.
Oh, okay.
I'm reading Chaos Rising.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Reading, and if I ever say reading 9 times out of 10, I'm probably referring to audiobooks.
For any of you wonder what I'm doing, I have an entire collection of books back here. I'm trying to see if I actually have it.
Yeah. Now I was going to show you. So I got this Lego minifigure display case. I ordered it a few days ago. Got it almost immediately. I was going to show you my Lego Star Wars collection. But I put the display case together and I got out all my Star Wars Lego minifigs, put them on and looked at it. And I'm like, man, that's kind of sad. I thought I had more. I really don't have that many. It's kind of sad, actually.
I've always said, people ask me with my collection why I don't have Legos. Well, they asked me 2 things. They asked me why I don't have more Funko Pops and why I don't have more Legos. Let me explain, and don't hate. Legos I like, but I just don't have room to put them together and actually put them somewhere to display them because I have so many things that I want to display. So that's my excuse with Legos. Legos is just, it's a shame to keep them in the box. I can't keep them in the box. You'd have to put them together. You have to set them out so people can actually see the end result of the Legos. As far as Funko Pops is concerned, don't hate, people. I'm not a huge Funko Pop fan. I don't know why. The Funko Pops don't excite me. Now, I do have some. I have actually quite a few of them. I'm looking at some of them. One of my favorite ones that I have are 2 of them. In the other room, and I showed this no, I didn't. I told Salacious about it, but I didn't even have a chance to show it. But I have the Jabba the Hutt, Salacious Rum, and Hutt Slayer Leia Funko Pop in the other room. And then up above in my Yoda collection, I have the Force Ghost of Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Anakin from Return of the Jedi up on my upper display from Yoda. But other than that, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of Funkos just because Funkos really didn't.
Steve says, I was going to say, does JD even have room?
No. I'm actually, Steve, honestly, I am thinking about doing this S word that people in my position even hate, the word that people in my position hate to utter.
Well, if you're going to do it, let me know what you're getting rid of first before you.
I may have to. I may have to sell things.
I call dibs. No. No, as far as Legos, the only I just have the minifigs. I do have a Lego Slave 1 that I still haven't put together, and I have no idea where it's at. It's in this room somewhere. I'll figure out where it's at. Why are you staring at me like that?
Well, I'm telling you right now, just from JD Comic-Con sale in the Discord. Yeah, no kidding. I'll put it up.
I call dibs.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
So there is something that I've got my eye on. That I'm going to decide. I'm going to decide probably tonight or tomorrow whether or not I'm going to get them, and if I do, then I'll have them ready by next week's show and tell.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before you show us your show and tell, I do want to show you what came in the mail this weekend.
Nice.
Actually, two somethings, but kind of the same thing.
Yeah. I think I know what it is. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I keep saying that I'm going to get our stickers. So here are the red ones. Here are the red ones. And Matt's wife made us some orange ones, and those also came in this weekend. So let's see. There we go.
Pretty.
So anybody who signs up for the Patreon will get one of each. Unless I run out of the orange ones.
Sign up for the Patreon.
So sign up for the Patreon, and it's only $2 a month, and you'll get a sticker. Hold that thought. You can start your reveal. I need to let one of the cats out because he's looking at me like I'm an asshole.
Looking at you like you're weird. So, for anybody who doesn't already know, two of my biggest collectible things that I love to collect on is lightsabers and helmets, which has been kind of the things that I've cut myself down to, because if I don't, my house will be consumed by everything else. So thus is why I may need to sell things, because so that way I can make room for more lightsabers and helmets. So that being said, there was one that came out a while back that I never thought I would get my hands on again, because I really wanted to get my hands on it. So I'm going to take it out of the box for you folks, but I get to show it now, which is kind of awesome. So I've been waiting for this one for a while to come back in stock, and now I get to take it out of the box and add it to my collection. Ladies and gentlemen, the Shadow Trooper helmet. It says from Battlefront 2. But I think that might be from... the Shadow Trooper helmet goes back a lot further, I think. I'm pretty sure. But this is the Shadow Trooper helmet from the Black Series. Oh, Red Box Black Series. So this is an older one that came out a while back. And like I said, it sold out. They didn't sell any more of them. They had them at GameStop. I didn't pick it up. And I was upset with myself when I didn't. But now I have one, and now I'm a happy camper. So, let's see here. Oh, I might actually have to put this together. Hang on a minute. Oh. What in the hell? Holy cow. There's something. Ah. Let's see. Well, okay. So for you folks that don't know, obviously they come in two pieces. Oh. There you go. Okay. And move that real quick. These things I definitely don't want to keep in the box. These are such a shame to keep in the box. If you can't take these out, stick them on your head and have a little fun with them. I don't know what. I don't know what kind of life you live at home, but you have to do this every so often. So let me get this thing in here. Let's see here. Trying to figure out how this goes on here. Hang on just 1 second. Bear with me. Let's see if I got this right. I think I got this right. Yep, I got it right. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. Here we go. Ready? La-di-da. Oh.
Ooh.
Check out that detail on that bad boy. Well, yeah, and you know what, though? Yeah, and now it does have a battery compartment, so I can put batteries in it. I won't do that here. I'll do that later. But I am going to do this because I must.
Very nice.
Now I understand why stormtroopers can't shoot for shit. Because I can't see shit out of this thing. But there you go.
Sounds like it's still an excuse.
But yeah, it has a battery compartment on the back of it, so you can throw batteries in it. I'm sure it's for voice changing and such things. But yeah, there you go, folks. The Shadow Trooper helmet from Black Series.
Very cool.
And for those of you who take hints, this might be a hint for what the show and tell for next week will be.
What? Oh, the show and tell for next week. Okay.
And their show and tell for next week may have something in common with this. So, hint, hint.
Okay.
So there you go.
Cool. Alrighty.
Sounds like Spaceballs. Lord helmet.
So here's what the blue logo looks like.
That's awesome.
We don't have stickers for that one.
Dang it.
Maybe we need to get some made.
Yeah, I was trying not to, Bear. I was trying not to put it on backwards. That would be just embarrassing.
I still don't have a helmet. I do need to get a helmet. I need to get myself a Boba Fett helmet.
That would complete your collection.
Yeah, I don't have any helmets. I'm going to go ahead and show you this very sad collection of Lego minifigs. I don't know how well they will show up, really. Come on, man. Okay. So yeah, I don't have that many.
Hi, Tina.
The whole top row is Mandalorians. A couple of those are Boba Fett. Yeah. It's really not that great, the collection. Hey, Tina.
I do have to admit, one of my favorite things about the Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian Season 2 was I did very much enjoy his recostuming, except with the reference to what was underneath, the black robe and the half cloak and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was a awesome outfit.
The Space Vespa. That's what I want. I want one of those.
Space Vespa.
I want the Space Vespa. Yeah. So that was cool. Nice little helmet there. Yeah, I need to get a Boba Fett helmet. And another thing that. Well, see, here's the thing: is like I never was really a huge collector per se, and I only just recently got into it, like in the last couple of years, and it's been like, even then, it's just something here or there. I don't like amass a lot of stuff. It's all your fault, man. But I do need to get. No.
Sideshow is my fault. Wanting things from Sideshow is my fault.
Collecting in general is your fault. Just own it. The other thing that I don't have, oddly enough, even like a toy, goofy version, I don't have a lightsaber. Oh, you know what? I take that back. For Christmas, was it this year? Had to have been this year. This past year, I mean. I got a lightsaber not a night light, but like a side table light.
Oh, like a lamp.
Yeah. I'll have to figure out what I did with that, and then maybe I'll reveal that one next week. Unless I decide to get the thing that I'm looking at to get, and then I will reveal that instead.
I loved lightsabers, but lightsabers, as far as like you can see back here, you can see this is like the 2004, 2005, 2006 signature FX collection pre-Disney. That's what all these are, and some of these are extremely rare. They're very expensive, and I managed to get them through people that I knew. The thing that I didn't like about these, and the reason why I don't really necessarily hate them, but the problem with these is you can't take the blades off. So there's no way to display just the hilts. The blades don't separate. Now, the newer ones, like the Galaxy's Edge, the Legacy Collection ones, those are great because you can separate them and blah, blah, blah. But the thing I've gotten to, the hot and heavy, is like the custom blades, like the third-party custom build your own, or the third-party people that are building hilts. Those things are freaking amazing. But if you want high quality, if you want bright, if you want function, if you want to be able to change colors on them, you are going to spend a pretty penny. I
haven't been to Galaxy's Edge yet, so if I do go some point in time, maybe I'll get one there, and that'll be my lightsaber.
I actually, when my daughter graduated from high school, I went down there, and that's when I purchased. I saved it for that one because I wanted to purchase it while I was there. I purchased the Luke Skywalker Return of the Jedi Legacy lightsaber from there, and that one's very special. I mean, that's a special one for me. But I've also built my own, and I've also built and painted and customized my own now that are third-party lightsabers, and like with high-end LEDs and different soundboards. And now I have lightsabers that I can actually hook up to Bluetooth, and I can actually use a Bluetooth app to change the effects and the colors and the sounds on them and stuff like that, which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, lightsaber would be cool to have, but really, I'd rather have the Boba Fett helmet. And then, as far as helmets go, I would also like to have a helmet for a TIE pilot.
That's one that Black Series hasn't come out with yet, but there are custom ones out there.
Yeah, I'm sure I can find. I mean, the 501st people,
I've got a few buddies in the 501st, and they can. If you have the money, they can make it screen accurate for you if you really want it, but it's going to cost you.
It's going to cost me. Yeah,
it's going to cost you.
Okay. Oh, you know what? We're an hour in.
We probably ought to play our third song, and then
probably play a third song.
Talk about the Force.
And then we're going to talk about the Force.
Yes.
Okay, so third song. Oh, crap. What happened to my notes? There we go. Third song. Actually, this band comes to us from... hey, Katie. Fancy hat.
She's talking about my hat.
Yeah. I need to get me another one of those.
Hi, sis. Hi, sis. For anybody who doesn't know, that's Katie on Facebook. She's my sister.
Hey, Katie.
Love you, sis.
What was I talking about? Okay.
Our next song.
this band actually comes from Oklahoma City. And I just kind of came across them. I think I came across them on Instagram. Anyway, they are called Computer Girl. And they released a single back in April. And I've been meaning to play it. And for some reason, it got lost in my shuffle of, my mass list of songs to play. But yeah, they released a single in April of this year. And it's called Projector. So here is Computer Girl with Projector.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd say that was a little more I think that was a little more positive than the last one.
I like that other one. Yeah, it was Projector by Computer Girl.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and their picture in the front looked like Wolverine. I don't know why. Maybe everything looks like Wolverine right now.
Wait a minute.
I don't know.
Well, maybe.
A little bit. Weapon X.
So, as Smirking Bear in the chat has said, squirrel mode. That's going to be we need to get that hashtag going for Rebel Rock Radio. Ooh, I want that. That's one of them you're going to sell to me, right? So yes, it is time for squirrel mode. Yeah, we're going to get that trending. Squirrel mode. Rebel Rock Radio.
Squirrel mode.
So, okay, we are going to be talking about the Force.
Mm.
What is the Force?
And it will be with you always.
So what is the Force? Hold on. I've got, God dang it. I had a sound clip in here. Where'd it go? There we go.
The Force?
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things.
By all living things.
Surrounds us, and penetrates us,
it
binds the
it
galaxy
binds
together.
The galaxy together.
All right. So that's
no,
Force.
I'm not an OG nerd or nothing.
That was it. Yep. That's all we had. Show's over. Thanks, guys. No.
That's it. Obi-Wan Kenobi, we're done.
That's all we had. Okay, so the Force, like you said, it is really one of, if not the defining aspects of the Star Wars universe.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't have the Force, it might as well be Flash Gordon or anything. I mean, the Force is really what defines the Star Wars universe.
I would even in a little bit, I would argue that the Force coupled with the users of it, i.e. the Jedi, the Sith, the Dothamarian sisters, and now with the Acolyte, the witches of witches of Brindok, and other of the like. It is what makes the Star Wars universe what it is, and I think the most unique part of it is the Force itself. Is the concept of the Force.
So in the Star Wars universe, there are actually, depending on the species or the group of people, it goes by many names, other than the Force. It has been referred to as the Ashla, as referred to by the Lasat. It has been referred to as the Tide, the Sight. The Sight is what it is called by the Chiss. It's been called the Life Current, the Life Wind, the Great Presence, the Luminous Mist, the Unity, the Beyond, the Thread, and there are other things. But as Obi-Wan has said, it is an energy field that is created by and connects all living beings. You have two, I'm not sure how to refer, kind of two types of Force, if that's the right way to say it. You've got the living.
Well, so you would say it's broke up into two categories.
Right. There you go. Broke up into two categories. So you've got the living Force, which is the energy of all life. Human beings, alien, anything living.
Anything living.
No rocks, no droids, anything like that. It's all organic matter. Let's put it that way. Even bugs. So it's the energy of all that. And then there's the cosmic Force, which kind of is where Obi-Wan was kind of getting to, whereas it kind of binds everyone together. And so like if somebody says they are one with the Force, they are referring to the cosmic Force. You got anything to add on living and cosmic Force? Because we were talking about this the other day, and really we could talk. This is going to be very, very general 101 the Force stuff, because we could get we could do a series just on the Force.
We could like we were talking, we could do a parts 1, 2, and 3 of talking about the Force if we were actually to sit down and actually break it down into its individual parts. If we were to talk about how it affects people, what its role is, blah 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 blah. I mean, we could go on and on and on and on, because I believe, and I'm kind of getting ahead of us a little bit, but I think we're going to be doing stuff about the Jedi and the Sith coming up too, and it's the same thing. It could be broken up into so many categories, and we could do exposés on for several episodes of the show where we could talk about it. The generalized part of it is, like you said, we're trying to hit on the general topics, our general opinions of it, which is how we feel about it and what our interpretation of it is, and the different parts of it, which is, like you said, the living force and the cosmic force.
Yeah.
And I'm always been of the mind that the living force is kind of the contributor to the cosmic force, because the stronger the presence of the living force, the stronger the presence of the cosmic force. The cosmic force is strengthened by the connection of the living force between each planet and between each system and between all things. So the stronger the force is with the living, the living force is, the stronger the cosmic force becomes. But as some people say, there are two separate entities that have that are very different. And in my mind, I've always perceived it as one thing and a different thing. But I think it's one of those. I think it's one of those things where you can. It kind of is open to interpretation. It's never really specifically, like, 100% defined.
Yeah.
It's always kind of open to a little bit of interpretation, which I think has always been the greatest part of the mystery of Star Wars, is the Force and how it affects things and how it does things. Because everybody believes, and it's no different than, say, and the connection to it in that respect is the connection of how the Force affects people, as opposed to how religion, let's say, for instance, the different religions of the world, how it affects each person and how they interpret it, and how they interpret how things outside their understanding affects their lives. And in this Star Wars universe, in this particular case, it's the Force, where in today's society, let's say here in America, it could be Christianity, or it could be Judaism, or it could be Muslim, or it could be Buddhism, or it could be Hinduism, or it could be even something as simple as, like, chakras and energies and things like that. Things be outside of our explanation that affect us in ways that we don't understand. And the Force very much, I think, embodies that. And that's always been my argument, is that it could be one thing. We just all define it differently.
Yeah, agreed. First of all, Isaac's in the chat, so welcome to the chat again, Isaac. Thank you for joining us tonight.
And we are definitely here to be a distraction and to hopefully, in a positive way, pull people outside of their normal lives and have a good discussion about the universe that we love.
Yeah, and don't want to take themselves too seriously.
And don't take us too seriously. Our opinions, and our insights are our opinions and our insights. You are free to disagree. You are free to add your comments in the chat.
Isaac. One part on you before you start turtling and running for the outhouse.
No, they straight up call that a shit. They straight up call that you got to take a shit.
So Bear had a question.
Okay.
So do you think the Cosmic Force would include droids? Personally, I would say no, because everything that I've read and observed about the Force is that it is very specific to living organisms.
I can see where that question could be a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? A bit of a difference in the idea of it, though, because technically droids in the Star Wars universe are AI, and they have their own personalities, they have their own abilities within certain parameters.
Right.
But I think it still boils down to programming. Yeah. And they're still programmed a certain way, and they still have protocols that they have to follow. They are not sentient beings of free will, so therefore I don't think they would have that kind of influence.
So you've got the two categories, I guess. And then you have the two sides, the light and the dark. And we can get into the whole gray thing, but we'll probably talk about that on another part of the series.
We can talk about that when we hit up Jedi.
Yeah. But you got the light side, which is, for all intents and purposes, the selfless side. Selfless, am I pronouncing that right? Yeah. And then the dark side, which is the more selfish side.
Very broad description.
It is. And that's my point, because we will get more into those aspects when we get into our discussions on the Jedi and the Sith. Now, one of the notes that I put in here on our notes was I put in origin of the Force, but I don't think that's what I actually meant. I think what I was meaning to say is origins in universe, as far as what we know. So this is all. I'm fairly certain this is all legend still and not canon.
Well, I actually one of the references that I pulled up tonight to talk about this discussion is the Jedi Path book. Now I have over there. I have the full diorama thing that you push and the book pops out and all that kind of stuff. This isn't canon material yet. This is all legends material. So for anybody, and I'm not trying to be hateful, I'm really not, but for those of you who question our devotion to either the EU or the new canon, we like to refer both, because until we hear differently, we're going to refer to EU.
So when people ask me, do you like Disney canon or do you like the expanded universe? Yes. Both. Say yes.
Yes. Yeah, we like them both.
Yeah.
Because we can refer to the other one, and it's we can use it as a reference point, and we can still call upon it for information. Now, until Disney decides to change that canon, and if they decide to countermand that, then it'll be a different story. But until then, we can still apply the EU. It doesn't really matter.
So you've got to understand, and we've mentioned this on the show before. You got to understand, we come from a generation that the EU was the only thing we had for decades.
Yeah.
We didn't have, between 1983 and 1999, that's what we had. We had the EU. So that's very nice.
Oh crap, the book fell out.
Squirrel mode. What was I going to say? Okay, so in the EU, there were these large. And this is way before High Republic, way before Empire, way before. It was a long time ago. There was these large pyramid-shaped ships called the Thoyor, which traveled around, and they picked up these pilgrims from different planets, different parts of the universe, of the galaxy. They picked up all these pilgrims from all over the universe and brought them to a planet called Tython. And this is where Tython is where force-sensitive individuals learned how to harness the power of the Force. And we'll probably mention this again next week. Tython is where they eventually established a Jedi Order. And it actually wasn't called the Jedi. It was close. It was called the Jed. I don't even know how to pronounce it. It was called differently. It wasn't just J-E.
I think it was the yeah, Jedi, I'm not sure too. The Jedi or something like that.
And so this is where as far as written information that we have, they learned how to use the Force, and they learned about the Force. And eventually it turned out that people that were not Force sensitive, this planet was actually harmful to them. But Tython also had two moons, which represented the two sides of the Force. You had the light side, which was represented by, I'm probably going to pronounce this one wrong too, Ashia, Ashia. And then you had Bogan, which represented the dark side of the Force. point I'm making is this is kind of where we get the origins of people worshiping. No, that's not the right word. Observing the Force, using the Force. This is where
studying the Force, if you will.
Studying the Force and
studying the Force
about it. And a lot of this is a lot of this can be found in the Dawn of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm. I think I actually have that.
I don't have.
I own that one. I own Dawn of the Jedi, the graphic novel.
Yeah, I don't have a hard copy of it anymore. I don't know what happened to it.
I have one down here. Yes, I have a copy of Dawn of the Jedi.
But I think you can find it if you're on Comixology. If you're on that, I'm pretty sure that it's still a free read on Comixology.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Dawn of
the Jedi. For those of you who are interested in EU lore and like comic books, graphic novels, and some of the older novels about the Dawn of the Jedi, the Dawn of the Sith, and that sort of thing, yeah.
We should do an episode about the EU.
Yeah, what we know about it.
We could probably do a series about that too.
We could probably do a series about the EU. I mean, really, honestly, we could do a lot on the EU because I mean, there was so much material that came out, and I mean, yeah, continuity problems and whether it was canon or not. Blah blah blah. Hey, Millennium Workshop. Hey guys.
Okay, sorry.
Spencer actually had a question. He says how many of those have you read? I actually have the entire collection. I have the entire series of them. I have let's see here. I have the Rebel Files, Smuggler's Guide, the Jedi Path, the Empire's Guide. I have the Mandalorian one. I have the Sith. I have the Big Sith Holocron. And what was the other one?
More of those than I do.
Rebels Empire, the Jedi Path, the Sith Holocron, the Smuggler's Guide, and the Mandalorian one, or the Bounty Hunter's Guide. The Bounty Hunter's Guide.
Books? Are you talking about these books or the comics?
Yeah, yes. But that one that I showed you that opened up,
yeah,
the front opened up. There's actually a series that here. I'll show you this one. I can get to it easy. I don't have the batteries in it anymore, and it doesn't light up.
Ooh.
But check that out. So what you do is you press the button. Wait, let's see if it still works. I know it does. Hang on, come on. There we go. So anyway. So I don't have the battery. I took the batteries out. It's a little dusty. Please don't judge. It's a little dusty, but you push this little button here, and if I put the batteries in it, this compartment will actually open up. And it opens up like this. And inside is the Book of the Sith. Inside that. And it's very similar to the Book of the Jedi. So I might have to put some batteries in it when we do our Sith episode so I can show everybody this. But there's people who know that. But it's pretty darn cool. But all of these books, like you have the Bounty Hunter one, Steve, it all came in cases similar to this and the Jedi one. Yeah.
So is that the question you were asking, Spencer? Or were you talking about the Dawn of the Jedi stuff? So I don't know which one he was asking about.
I wonder if he's talking about all these books.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Here you go, Steve.
What else in that one?
This is the Bounty Hunter's Guide.
Oh, okay. Oh, it just comes in the big book.
Yeah. See, and then you open it up. But inside of it, it also has one of the darts from episode 2. And it has some other information, and then it actually has the book itself right there. The Bounty Hunter's Guide. Yeah, but when you open up when you open up the Bounty Hunter's Guide, it has like wanted posters, and it's all kinds of cool stuff. And you'll like this.
Very cool.
Yeah. Anyway, where were we?
Okay, so Spencer was actually asking, just in general, how much of the books on your shelf have you read?
Oh, I've read quite a few of them.
Looking over at mine. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that okay. I've read 99% of them. There's that new one that I got, The Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire, which I have not started yet. And it'll probably be a while. I mean, it might wind up on Audible before I actually read it. And if it does, then I'll probably listen to the audiobook.
Anyway, where were we? we got off on a tangent.
What were we talking about? Dawn of the Jedi. Origins of the Force. Okay.
Origins of the Force.
So you've got the Force, and then you've got individuals who are more in tune with it, that are, referred to as Force sensitives. And these individuals were able to kind of, I don't know if I want to use the word control, but that's the best word I can think of. Control the Force to perform certain feats, like moving.
I don't even like the word like manipulate, because manipulate even sounds bad.
Yeah, it's just like
I don't even think control. I don't think even control is a good word. What would the word be used? It's not control. It's not manipulate. I would say it's access, maybe?
Access. There you go. Access.
They can access the Force?
Yeah, they access the Force to perform things like moving objects.
But that may be my bias too, because if you think about it, like I said before, I'm more of I stand with the Jedi side of things rather than the Sith. I always try to lean towards the light, of course.
Yep.
And so the Sith may be calling it controlling the Force or manipulating the Force. But in the end, they're still accessing the Force to do what they need to do, whatever it is they desire to do for whatever the desired action is. And
access the Force is a better way to describe it.
Yeah.
Because the wield, there we go. They're wielding the Force.
Wielding the Force, yeah.
Wielding the Force.
Yeah.
And so you have obviously have various groups that, if you've been reading any of the High Republic stuff, there are some out there that think accessing the Force to perform these type of feats is, for lack of a better term, sacrilegious, and that they shouldn't be using it. A lot of this has come through in the High Republic stuff, specifically in Phase 2. And then you've got a lot of other groups that see the Force differently. The Jedi only being, and the Sith only being two of those groups. But you have people like the Guardians of the Wills, Path of the Open Hand, Church of the Force, which are non-Force sensitive people that basically believe in the principles of the Jedi Order, but they can't actually use the Force. Or they can't actually access it. They're just not Force sensitive.
Which in some ways, and this is kind of getting off into real world stuff, but in some ways would be kind of the same position that because there are actually churches of, like, say, the Jedi and that exist in real world today that live, like you can find them on Facebook, the Church of the Jedi Order and places like that. Now, it's one of those things where obviously in the reality of our own world, which sucks because, hell, I wish, we could do that kind of thing, but obviously we can't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's people who practice the disciplines and who try to create positive energy in their own lives, and they believe that to be a spiritual thing and could be interpreted as the Force, as trying to enforce, trying to create a positive energy and a force of positivity and positive light in helping people in their own lives, which could be which could be interpreted as a force of sorts. Now, obviously, you can't lift rocks, you can't choke people with it and things like that. But nevertheless, it can be it can be a way to create, what do I want to say?
Squirrel.
Squirrel. Well, I'm just trying to articulate it in ways that people might understand today. It's kind of a way of using it in a disciplinary way to think of how to improve your own life and things like that. But like I said, obviously you can't do some of the feats that they can do in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
But I need the T-shirt. What I needed, I should have had the T-shirt. I should have bought it for this episode, and I didn't. But it was the T-shirt that people I've sure have seen before that it says, if I could use the Force, there's a 100% chance I would use it inappropriately.
I think I have one of those shirts.
Yeah.
So Isaac brought up, we weren't really going to talk about these guys because I didn't do any research on them. They're called the Ang T, which are a species of alien monks. And they're kind of along those lines. They weren't they in? I'm trying to find some information about them, but they were. They were mentioned in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, the Visual Dictionary. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see a whole lot of information about these guys. I'd have to pull up my Visual Dictionary. Yeah.
The Angti are sentient species. Their neural activity resembles the motion and reaction of the plasma within wayfinders, navigation devices used by both ancient Jedi and the Sith. It says, in the new Star Wars canon, the Angti were mentioned in the 2019 reference book, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, the Visual Dictionary, written by Pablo Hidalgo. In the Star Wars Legends continuity, the Angti first appearance of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, published blah, 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 blah. Let's see. So basically, it sounds like to me they were, and this is just my interpretation, just from a rough reading here. It sounds like these people could. It sounds like they were able to access and intune themselves with the cosmic force, which would allow them to be better navigators of the universe. Because they mentioned wayfinders. They mentioned they were able to tap into the wayfinders. They can flow, walk, and teleport items using the Force. Very cool. Very cool. I would think that would be more of a cosmic force ability.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The next topic I wanted to discuss is one that when it was first introduced, it was pretty controversial, especially with and this is still pre-Disney. So this was controversial with people who being that it was pre-Disney, it was before people had they're upset about Disney buying Star Wars. But the topic I am referring to is the midichlorians. Introduced in Phantom Menace. A lot of people had a problem with it. And what the thing about the midichlorians is that it gave, and I think this might be why a lot of people had a problem with it, is it gave a more scientific explanation of the mystical side of Star Wars. The Force was always this like mystical thing, like I said, defined the Star Wars universe. And while it wasn't magic, the Force is not magic. It was
energy. It was always energy. And I have to admit, when I heard about the midichlorians, I I was skeptical, if not a little bit, not upset. I don't want to say upset with the explanation because what do I want to say? I guess it boils down to a frustration with the explanation because I always enjoyed the fact that the Force was a bigger mystery.
Yeah.
Than it was than it was explained.
Did kind of dispel some of that mystery. Yeah.
It did kind of take some of that mystery out because it always said that it was a matter of how many midichlorians you had in your body defined your connection to the Force.
Right.
So if you didn't have any, it wasn't there for you, but it's still there. It's just the midichlorians enhance that connection to it.
Right.
And at first I was kind of like, I mean, since then I really haven't grown much beyond that. It's been more of an apathetic accepting acceptance of it. Just saying, well, I'm just going to move past it, and it's George's universe, and however he wants to define it is fine with me. The midichlorians kind of define that, so your midichlorian, and then they said like things like midichlorian counts and things like that determined how strong your connection to it was, and things like that. So to me, it was always better that we didn't know, that it was always mystical, that it was always something that we never quite knew what it was, because it was always interesting to see, even in the original trilogy, it was always one of those, because like Han Solo was talking about, no mystical force defines my destiny.
Right.
Well, is it because you have a stronger connection to the Force, all of a sudden now the Force has a will for you, or has a destiny for you, or does it have a destiny for everyone, or is it that it has a destiny for no one and we define our own destiny?
Yeah.
Personally, and this is just my interpretation of it. Again, these are my own opinions. My own interpretation of it is that the Force doesn't have a quote unquote will for people.
Right.
We individually, or you individually in the Star Wars universe as the character in that universe, you projected or defined your own destiny, your own will. And it was all made up of choices. Because at any moment you could choose to go to the dark side of the Force. And if let's say the Force had a will for you to be good, well, that got screwed up in the case of Anakin. In the case of Anakin Skywalker, he was a vergence in the Force created around a person who was or was not, which is still kind of up for debate, was or was not a prophecy that the Jedi brought forward that an incredible individual with connection to the Force would bring about balance to the Force because it was supposedly out of balance.
Right. And
whether him becoming Darth Vader was part of the plan or whatever, which is part of the debate, does that change the will of the Force at that point or whatever? So to me, it was always better that it was more mysterious.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed more of the mysterious factor, and I always enjoyed the fact that that the Force was benign, that it was our choices that defined us as a person and how we use the Force.
Right.
Or, well, I say we, I mean that in context of the universe and the story.
I know what you mean.
Please understand.
Yeah, that's like, there was something I was reading over the weekend about that exact point, how the Force, there isn't necessarily a light or dark side. It's just what you as an individual are doing with it. I don't know that light.
That was the way I always interpreted it. That's the way I always understood it. There was never a will that, because like I said, one of my favorite characters is Qui-Gon Jinn, and he always talks about if you're ready to listen, you can hear the will of the Force. But is there an actual will of the Force, or is it just how we choose to use it, apply it, and manifest it in our own lives that focuses our destiny? Because he also said, I'm trying to think of the quote here. It was, our focus determines our reality.
Mm-hmm.
So if your focus determines your reality and you're a force user, then the force user can manipulate or help you understand that reality.
But
it's not necessarily that the force wants you to do one thing or the other. It's just that you have the ability to use it. Now, how does it define your life?
But how does that play into the idea that, like Qui-Gon was talking in episode 1 about how Anakin could see things before they happened?
Mm-hmm.
Does that not enter into there is a will and the force is allowing you to see what is going to happen that gives you the better reflexes?
Well, now here's my thoughts on that.
Okay.
My thoughts on that always is that it was never a prediction of what the future would be. It was always a prediction of what the future could be if the sequence of events was allowed to play out. Like if everything kept progressing in the same order that it was, then the force was saying this is what could happen if something doesn't change. Which to me would indicate that there is no will. It's a matter of the choices we make.
All right. So those of you in the chat, I'm curious. Do you believe that there is a will of the force? Maybe I should do this on Twitter. Do a poll on Twitter. Do you believe?
Do a Twitter poll.
I'm going to put that on there right now.
And now maybe it might be a natural action because the weird thing about it is that Anakin's prophecy was that he was to bring balance to the Force, which is something, I mean, it's going to be a topic for a whole other discussion. But now would the Force want to balance itself if it was too far to the good side, or would it want to balance itself when it's too far to the dark side? Because that was something that always irked me about the whole Chosen One thing. Was they said that Anakin was there to bring balance to the Force. Well, if the Jedi are in power and the Jedi have a commanding presence in the galaxy, then that means the Force wants to balance itself more back towards the dark side. Which I would be like, if I was the Jedi and the Jedi are in command of, if they're not necessarily in command, but have a commanding presence in the galaxy, and somebody said, well, the Force is out of balance, wouldn't that make you perk up and go, wait a minute, maybe they're talking about we have too much power. There's too much good in the universe and the Force wants to balance itself.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you look at that and you go, wait a minute, that's a little problematic.
Yeah. So
is it bad writing, or?
Spencer says that he'd say there is no will, but can see either side. I'm kind of on that same opinion. I can see I can see it either way. I can see in some aspects that there is a will, but maybe not.
But I can also see it. I can also see, like, so I guess in reference to things like our personal lives, is there such a thing as being too protective?
Too protective?
Yeah. Is there a possibility that you would want to protect, like, say, a child so much that you could be overprotective? Let's put it in that position. Let's put it in that context.
Say yes. I'm not sure how those are similar, though.
Well, so think about it like this. So if you're overprotective to the point where it actually is causing harm to be protective, that would be considered a dark aspect of the Force, would it not?
I guess, yeah, I can see that.
Okay. So then you have characters like Khmer who just wanted freedom. Now, is he necessarily a dark sider because he wanted freedom and he felt like the Jedi were trying to control him?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That could be up for debate.
Because if we're talking about the sequence of events in the Acolyte, which show us that the Jedi were not at the Jedi Order, let's put it that way. The Jedi Order in general were doing some shady shit. So were they in balance? So Bear has another opinion. He says that I do believe there is a will of the Force, but it's an ever-changing will, like the flow in a river. Okay.
It determines and influences personal choices.
Yeah,
I mean, 100%. Because if the Force influence, because it's kind of like free will in religion, depending on what your religious choice is. And I don't want to go into what people's religious choices are, but we all know about how free will affects each one of how free will is a part of each of our religious beliefs.
Yeah.
Or your spiritual beliefs, whatever the case may be. It wouldn't make any sense for the Force to tell you what to do all the time. So in a sense, Bear's response is a perfect example.
Yeah.
It has an idea of the way it wants you to go, and maybe it's one of those things, just like you mentioned in Empire Strikes Back, when they're talking about if things continue the way they are, this is what could happen. But the Force is saying that pain and suffering will be a part of the future if you don't change it. And maybe the Force is leaning towards being, wants to be more in the middle, where it doesn't want to be their pain and suffering, but people's choices of, do I want more freedom and I want to be part of the Sith, or do I want to be an overprotective father and I want to protect my child too much, where they're actually suffering because of my protection?
Right.
So that's the way I would look at it, is that it's all based on your deeds. It's all based on what you do. Are you causing physical pain and suffering? Because if the living Force is affected by pain and suffering, then that would be essentially the changing of the course of the river, as Bear puts it.
Yeah. Then you get into, is there such a thing as destiny? Was, like I think you mentioned it earlier, was Anakin destined to become Darth Vader? Was he destined to, I think he was manipulated to become Darth Vader. But a lot of that has to do with his own choices as well. Not completely. It's all the Emperor's fault.
I'm going to say this, and I hate people. Don't hate me for it. I don't think that Darth Vader was destined to become I don't think Anakin was destined to become Darth Vader. I think that Palpatine saw an opportunity to change him into Darth Vader and manipulate an incredibly powerful Force user to bend him to his will. And in the end, the only thing that brought him back was the last two threads of humanity that Darth Vader had left, which was his son and his daughter.
Yeah.
I think once Anakin Skywalker stopped being Darth Vader, once Anakin Skywalker ceased to become Anakin Skywalker and became Darth Vader, his whole purpose and what he was changed. And therefore, in that respect, the Force had to change it had to course correct.
Yeah.
And so
So Steve has an interesting thought. While I don't think you can be too good, you can be too righteous, which you can argue that. So
yeah, in a way, I can see that.
Let's wait till next week to talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to talk. I think Jedi's next week, right?
Yeah, next week we're going to be talking about who are the Jedi.
My favorite topic.
Before we jump, before we end for the night, I do have one other topic that may not get as heated. We didn't really
controversial,
which is almost as controversial as the midichlorians.
Mm-hmm.
And I am referring to Force dyads.
Okay.
So the idea that two people can be attuned to each other so much because of the Force.
Mm-hmm. Which was a very controversial topic with The Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
And the sequel trilogy, for that matter.
Right. So you had the Force dyad of Rey and Ben.
Mm-hmm. Matthew, don't hate us because we're talking about Hand Killer.
About what?
Matthew doesn't like Ben Solo. He's the Hand Killer. Or Kylo Ren, as you were.
The Hand Killer?
Han Solo Killer.
Okay, gotcha.
Han Solo Killer. The Han Killer.
We're not going to get into opinions about specific characters.
Yeah.
But I'm just using that as an example because that was kind of the first example that we had of a Force, like the first mention of it, really.
And I honestly look at it the same way I look at like a virgins. Two people of incredibly intense force power abilities, which arguably Ben Solo / Kylo Ren and Rey, that's what they were. They were people who had an extraordinarily high connection to the Force. And then when they got together, it was like doubling or tripling or quadrupling, exponentially expanding that power. And when they got together, it created that dyad when they got together. And through the sequel trilogy, it made it even more intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. In my opinion, a lot of people look at that and they say that wasn't a continuing theme throughout the show or through the sequel trilogy. I kind of think it was. I tend to think it really was. Because when Kylo Ren and Rey first meet and she's inside the chamber and he's questioning her and he makes that connection between the two of them and she reads his mind, that's where, in my opinion, that's where the connection between the two of them began. And from there, it just continued to strengthen and get bigger until they got to the point where like we were discussing about and I hope I'm not butchering this, but the Ang-T, where they could transport things through the Force. They were actually able to do that. Throughout that entire sequel trilogy, they were able to make that connection so strong that by the end they could do that. And it even got to the point where, and another controversial topic, it even got to the point where Ben Solo was able to transfer the entirety of his life force to make sure that Rey lived and survived and moved on and was able to continue on.
Now, Bear does make an interesting point here.
Okay.
That Luke and Leia had a Force dyad, you can argue.
Yes, I would agree.
I would agree with that.
I would agree. I don't think it was as strong, but I would agree because they sensed each other and they knew what was going on and they had a connection that acted much stronger than.
I mean, really,
than an average.
You could also argue that Luke and Anakin had a connection, and whether or not you call that a Force dyad, because they could also. It wasn't as strong. But there were certain instances where they could sense each other.
I think if they'd have had that connection if Anakin, let's say in a what if scenario, if Anakin had survived and somehow went, moved beyond Return of the Jedi, I think that would have grown, and I think you would have been right. I think it was because they were connecting as Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, not as Anakin and Luke Skywalker. So I don't think the connection was the same as what you would call a true positive connection.
That was more you could sense each other through the Force.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that by accessing the Force that I didn't point out earlier, but like the reason that you can sense certain things in the Force is because everything's connected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because of the connection through not only the cosmic force, but through now here's something. This I just thought is there's something. You want to talk about people that had a strong connection. I really think in my mind that I think Kylo Ren and Leia or Ben Solo and Leia had a very strong connection because Ben manifested Han Solo in Rise of Skywalker at the end. And I think that wasn't him in his mind seeing his father. I think that was Leia generating his father because he really wanted to come to peace. He wanted to come to terms with what happened with him and Han Solo.
You could be right because I don't think Han had a connection to the Force, so it wouldn't have been him projecting himself. Somebody else was projecting Han.
And I think it was Leia. I really think it was Leia because I think Leia knew how much killing his father really did affect him and how much he was trying to fight it.
And that actually makes that scene that I have a problem with from Rise of the Skywalker a little more swallowable, a little easier to swallow.
A little easier to swallow.
I had a problem with that scene, and we won't get into that. I had a problem with that
because
scene for a specific reason.
And the reason why I say that, and the reason why I enforce that a little bit more, is because you notice her body didn't transition, it didn't disappear until she finished that connection.
Yeah.
It disappeared whenever her son died. I guess it would be the more, but she stayed alive long enough her body remained long enough to see that connection between the two of them happen, project the father, so that way he could actually make peace with that decision. He could turn back to the light, which brought him back to being Han Solo, or brought him back to being Ben Solo, finishing the dyad and helping Rey in the end, and then doing the one thing that would have redeemed him, which was sacrifice his life for Rey to make sure that she continued on, and then we saw her disappear, and that was her final act.
Yeah.
I know, Spencer, a lot of people don't like it. I like to do what I can to meld it into the rest of the story, to make it make sense, to make myself understand it. Because I agree with you. I that's a whole nother discussion. It's a whole other discussion.
I won't. Yeah, we won't have the discussion because that's actually my favorite of the sequel trilogy.
Yeah. I liked it. I didn't have a problem with it. It wasn't my favorite, but I did not have a problem with it.
There were
not as much as some people.
There were a couple of scenes that I had a problem with, but
and really, if we're going to have a true Rise of Skywalker discussion, we need to have Pete Fletcher back on again, because I think I could. I don't think I can change Pete's mind, but maybe I can do the same thing for him that I just did for you, which is make it make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, that one scene makes a little more sense. Anyway, I think that's all we've got. Next week, we are going to be doing part 2 of the series, this unnamed series. I haven't thought of a name for this series. But next week, we are going to be talking about who are the Jedi. So make sure you you come back next week for that one. And make sure that you like this episode and subscribe if you haven't already.
I have
on this episode. What? Say that again. What?
But when you're done, I have 2 quotes from the Jedi Path that have to do with the Force that I want to read
next week.
I can. Yeah, it's part of the Jedi Path, but it has to do with the Force. So I didn't know if you wanted me to. I didn't know if we wanted to read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I have 2 quotes. It's from the Jedi Path. These are actually in that if you'd like to go read this book for everybody. So the 2 quotes that I have, this is actually Luke writing in the margin for the book about the Force. And his quote is, "We must return to the idea that the Force as it flows through us, not from us." And then the other quote is from Qui-Gon Jinn. It says, "It strikes me that the living Force is the essence of the Jedi calling. Despite Master Dooku's warnings, I cannot turn away from helping others, even if it works against my destiny." And I think that's kind of relevant to what we've been talking about. I think it's kind of interesting and relevant to what we're talking about. The Force is generated by us. It flows through us. And despite whatever their supposed destiny is, it always goes back to they wanted to help people. And that is the essence of the Jedi, was always going back to helping people.
Yeah.
And using it through the Force to do so.
Well, thanks for everybody for tuning in this week. And thanks everybody in the chat room for hanging out with us and having some fun discussion about the Force. Again, tune in next week for Who Are the Jedi? But until then, may the Force be with you.
Always.
Always. Like a panther.
Like a panther.